Hey and welcome to MFFL TV. I'm your host Dylan, and this will be part 2 of some potential Porzingis trades that the Dallas Mavericks can make. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, feel free to check it out. The link will be in the description box below. As for now, we're just going to get into 5 more trade destinations for Porzingis, and let's get straight into trade number 1. Has Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams joining the Mavs for Kristaps, Porzingis and Dwight Powell. So right off the bat, even though Steven Adams is an expiring contract, I feel like that won't matter that much in this situation, because if Luka signs that Supermax deal, there's not going to be much salary cap room anyway in the future. So most of the free agency and salary cap business probably needs to get tied down this year. That being said, let's look at each team and then we'll go into a deeper dive from there. This is roughly what the Pelicans will be looking like after the trade, depending on Lonzo Ball's free agency situation. He's a restricted free agent, so it is likely that he comes back. But, you know, you get a really good big man next to Zion who can stretch the floor and not clog the paint up as much as Steven Adams would, for instance. With that being said, he's also a really good second option, maybe third, depending with Brandon Ingram. But I think he adds a lot of versatility to the team, can play the 4 when Zion comes out, can start at the 5. And I think this is the perfect situation. He won't need to guard the bigger, stronger big man, because I feel like Zion can take care of that. The only problem with that is if he does have to guard some 4s, Porzingis does struggle a bit laterally defensively, so Pelicans might be getting exposed there. However, on the whole, you're getting someone that averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, really good 3-point shooter, and I think works really well with Zion. But let's see how the Mavs come out of this. And this is what the Mavs would be looking like, just assuming Tim Hardaway Jr. re-signs, because we don't know what happens in free agency. But look, I like Steven Adams. I think, you know, he's a really good pick setter. He brings sort of that Tyson Chandler vibe to Dallas. However, he is on the decline, averaged about 8 points, 9 rebounds a game last year. And Eric Bledsoe really isn't that secondary playmaker that the Mavs are looking for, averaged something along the lines of 12, 3 and 4. Also, both of them are really subpar free throw shooters. You can't really trust them late game. And Bledsoe isn't a great 3-point shooter. If they do flip this and maybe trade Bledsoe and get some more shooters in and keep Steven Adams to be that Tyson Chandler-ish player, maybe it can work. But if that's the only trade they're going to make, I think the Mavs can do better. So with that being said, the issue with trade 1 was the lack of shooting. This will not be an issue right here. So trade number 2 has Porzingis and Brunson heading to Utah for Bogdanovic and Clarkson. So let's see how the Jazz end up looking out of it. And this is how the Jazz will be coming out of this. So straight away, Porzingis can sort of fit in that Millsap and Bogdanovic role in one. Looks like Millsap's probably on the way out. Although I'm not sure on Conley as well. We just got him for the sake of it. But for the Jazz, they got their own twin towers now. 2 huge 7-footers, can both block shots. I don't think Porzingis is that much of a downgrade or at all on Bogdanovic in terms of perimeter defense. So I feel like they're okay there. Still a really good 3-point shooter, gives the Utah a really good second option if Conley does go on offense, and someone who can potentially they run the offense through periodically. Really good partner with Gobert. And although Brunson's a bit of a downgrade on Clarkson, can do very similar things, come off the bench and just score. So I think it's a really good trade for the Jazz, but let's see how it is for the Mavs. Post-trade, this is what the Mavs will look like. So although neither Clarkson or Bogdanovic is really that secondary playmaker I was talking about, they both are good enough shooters and scorers to attract defensive attention. So the floor will be opened up for Luka. It won't be as clogged. Do I think this is the best trade? No, but I think it's pretty good if they wanted to trade Porzingis. Both of them are really good foul shooters, so you can trust them late in game. As I said, excellent 3-point shooters. With this, Dallas will just still really need to upgrade that center position. I don't think Powell can be the starting center for a contending team, so they would need to try and find a way to bring in someone off there. Powell would be a great player off the bench, mixed in with Clarkson as well. However, I think that's probably their one area of concern if they were to do this trade. But we still got 3 more trades to go, so let's just head straight on to trade number 3. Trade number 3 has Porzingis going to Oklahoma for Kemba Walker in just a straight up swap deal. Both players obviously have their injury concerns recently. Salary-wise, it's pretty easy to make this trade get done, so let's see how Oklahoma looks. I really like this from Oklahoma's perspective. I say this is a really low-risk, potentially high-reward trade. Can sort of give Shai Gilgeous a really good number 2, have them working as a duo. Porzingis said he wants to be a co-star. I feel like he can be that in Oklahoma. As well, they're not really going to probably contend anytime soon. They do have a lot of draft picks. So let's say Porzingis has a really good season. They can package that with some picks and maybe get a superstar. They do have a lot of assets. So I think for Oklahoma, this is a good trade. Kemba Walker's sort of aging anyways. Stock's not going to get much higher. So I think this is really good for them. But let's see how the Mavs come out of this. Alrighty, and this is how the Mavs would be looking after the Kemba Walker trade. Look, I love Kemba. I think he'd be a perfect secondary playmaker next to Luka if healthy. However, I think at this point in his career, he's had a few too many injuries. His stock's on the way down as well. Even though he had a bad season, I feel like Porzingis had a better season, still a lot younger. So I think giving up Porzingis for him would be a bit too much. However, if Oklahoma would accept other offers, not including Porzingis, maybe for Powell, Maxey, Brunson, then I think that would be a really good trade for Dallas and have them as a big 3. Can potentially re-sign Hardaway and see where things go from there. But I think a straight-up swap, not really best for Dallas's interest, and I think there are a lot better trades out there. So let's go into the next trade and see. Trade number 4 has Porzingis, Powell, and Brunson heading to the Cavs for Colin Sexton and Kevin Love. So let's not say any further and go straight into it. This is what the Cavs would look like. So this is how the Cavs would be lining up after the trade. However, they do still have the 3rd overall pick and probably going to take Jalen Green. So you could just add that to this lineup. Straight away, similar to the Utah situation, I feel like Jared Allen and Kristaps would offer a really strong duo defensively in terms of shot blocking, would make it really hard for other teams to score on the inside. With everything, Porzingis guarding 4s, I'm not really a fan of. I think he's a bit too slow laterally. But they could mix it up with some zone, really stifle defenses with their length. And I know they don't really want to pay Colin Sexton. So this is a good chance to get him off their books and bring in some assets in return. I think Porzingis can really be the number 1 scoring option here, bring up his stock, and then maybe get one more move later on in his career. But, you know, this is a Mavs fan channel, so let's see it from the Mavs perspective. So I love this trade for the Mavs. You get to pair up Luka with a really young, exciting guard in Colin Sexton, who was just off a fantastic year, averaging about 24 points a game. As well as that, is a really good 3-point shooter, free throw shooter. So I think that's a really good number 2 next to Luka. And in addition, don't forget about Kevin Love. You know, I think he's a really good fit as well for the team. Really good rebounder, which I think the Mavs have been lacking. And as well, another good 3-point shooter, space the floor. If they can bring in someone to be a pick and roll tandem with Luka, I think this would be a perfect trade. That being said, there is still one more. Look, the next one's probably not likely, but fans can dream. So let's get trade number 5 has Porzingis, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Brunson heading to Portland for Damian Lillard. Let's get this straight. I don't think this trade's going to happen. I think a lot of teams can offer better packages. As well, it'd be sad to see Dodo go. But let's look at it from the Portland perspective. Here is how the Trailblazers would look after the trade. Do I think they would get better after this? No. But I think McCollum and Porzingis can be a nice tandem. As well, maybe flip some of their other assets, get another player in return. However, let's just look how the Mavs look after this. And this last trade gets to pair Lillard with Luka and just be one of the best duos in the league. Everyone knows about Lillard. Excellent scorer. Can score anywhere across half court. So I think that really space the floor for Luka. As well as that, Maxey could start at the 4. He still brings a lot of defense and a good three-point shooter to space the floor even further. Like I always say, if they can just upgrade that 5 as well, bring in a really good pick and roll partner for now both Lillard and Luka, I feel like that could really elevate them in the West. But do I think this trade's going to happen? No. I think if the Mavs were really insistent on trading Porzingis, getting a Sexton and a Love would be a really good package. However, in my opinion, I don't really think the Mavs should be trading Porzingis right now. His stock is really low. But also, I think he's a really good player, and I think a lot of the other players we get in return won't be nearly as good. This is the first off-season where he's not injured, where he can sort of just improve instead of just rehab. So I feel like we could be even getting a much better Porzingis next season. I know in the playoffs it was a bit underwhelming. He was sort of just coasting around the three-point line. That could have been a coaching decision, so we'll see if Jason Kidd can come in and revamp Porzingis' career as well. And I think if they were to make other changes to the roster besides Porzingis, I feel like that could be doing the Mavs a lot better. However, who knows what's going to happen. If you like the video, please like the video and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And I'll be here for any big news. But for now, let's continue with the rumors, I guess. So I'll see you.